Professor Ezequiel Jimenez's work. Let's take a look at this video of his work.
Ezequiel Jimenez is a Dominican-American professor, visual artist, and political scientist. He holds an associate degree in digital art and design, BA double major in studio art and political science, and a master's in fine arts. All degrees are from the City University of New York. Mr. Jimenez also has a graduate certificate from William Paterson University in career and technical education. Mr. Jimenez has taught in Bergen Community College in New Jersey, the Newark Public Schools, and the City University of New York. Ezequiel Jimenez is a highly praised man of faith for his work and commitment to the community. His artwork consists of large-scale paintings on mixed media, including canvas, wood, and paper. He also relies on organic form, curved lines, and mechanical imagery. He conveys a sense of space and wide range of unexpected manifestations. Mr. Jimenez has also spoken in many academic institutions to young people to encourage to never give up. Professor Ezequiel Jimenez has received important honors and distinctions throughout his career, including a proclamation of the Assembly of the State of New York. Professor Ezequiel Jimenez also received the illustrious awards in art by the Institute for Latino Studies Research in the United States of America. He also received a resolution proclamation by the City of Newark in New Jersey, a proclamation from the New York State Senate. He has also received Governor's Citation by the State of Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Professor Ezequiel Jimenez also received a proclamation of Distinguished Son of Santiago de los Caballeros. Also received a citizen citation from the City of Providence in Rhode Island, among other awards. In 2012, Jimenez was inducted to the official list of 100 influential Dominicans in the United States, which was published by the National American Roundtable and the National Dominican American Council of Washington, D.C. This has been Lawrence Seiler from Abel Denarnay. I would like to welcome Ezequiel Jimenez to Abel Denarnay. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Lawrence.
Okay. What are the missions and goals of you being an artist and your art in the community?
Well, so I can say that more than a missions art is a way of life. Okay, so the reasons, if I will say use the words missions, what the mission that I do arts, I would say that, okay, art is communication. So I need, as any other human beings, so I need communicate. So in the way how I communicate ideas is through image, color, lines, and all elements of art, such as lines, balance, space, shades, textures, and mediums, and other art elements. So, and then I will say that if I will use on the words missions in arts, so then my art has the mission or the intention to explore the human experience and condition, communicate ideas or express emotion on different topics, exploring the human conditions, emphasizing in creativity and the aesthetics, the beauty of the art. So that's I will say. So art is a powerful tool to preserve of cultural preservations, including values, beliefs, and provide them the historical records for future generations. okay? But also art is a powerful tool for social critiques and raising awareness on many social issues many social issues that we have to deal with in our modern societies.
Okay. Since you've worked with wood and many mediums, can you that the art in the background that I see, and the picture in the background, what?
Yes, that's some works in progress.
Yeah.
So and so basically, so the canvas is not like a canvas; it's a wood canvas. I would say that's the canvas that I use for that artworks in progress on the background. So, but I like to experiment with different types of mediums. Okay, so since I'm not doing arts on the traditional ways as we usually know, I use not only oil paintings or the canvas, but I use another types of material too. Then it's typical of the modern artists using today, even if we are still using traditional media too. But we mixing. In my case, I like to mix a different type of media depending what the result that I want is at the end.
Okay. So, what made you? This is a two-part question. What made
Yeah.
you want to become an artist, and what advice do you have for? Because I mean, even though regular, even though other people watch the show, what advice do you have for people with disabilities or people with special needs who want to become artists? So, what made you become an artist?
Well, so one of the reasons that I want to be an artist is because so they need to communicate ideas to express myself. And in this case, so more than talk, so I can express myself through images because image is a language. Art was the first way of communication between the human beings. Okay, so before we know the use of the oral language that we use in today, so the human being, and during the period of that time, that the human being cannot talk, so they communicate through art, visual icon, visual language. Okay, so in that case, so I want to just express myself more senses, more free, more like a more with more freedoms than the traditional way that we use. So in arts, allow me that opportunity. But as in arts, as we know, even if many people do not figure out the many artists, famous, including famous artists, at some point, they suffer of disables. They were disabled artists on some different way, okay? So it could be physically or could be mentally, okay? For example, so just we have, for example, from the Renaissance to the modern times, so on through the history, we have many famous artists. Then in some way, they have some types of disables. For example, just recently the studies suggested that the iconic Da Vinci, icon from the Renaissance, and who is considered a genius of the humanities. So some studies suggesting that he suffers of like attention disorders. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
So
We let me interrupt
Da
you there.
Vinci.
Yeah, but we cannot say suffers, deals with, because people with disabilities don't suffer from anything.
Yeah, but at some points in that case, it's sometimes so disables. Okay. For example, mental disorders. Okay, so the study find they suggesting that so doing to the Da Vinci, he's a many of his artworks he left unfinished. He did not complete some many of them. That's why they suggested probably they suffer some mental disorder. But as also we have another disabled artist like Matisse, okay, who became wheelchairs, bond follower surgeries. As also we have on the modern times now we have another British artist, okay, Stephen Wheelchairs, which who was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. But so also at the same time, he's very famous for his capacity to retain image on his memory. He's very famous by painting landscapes of the city just on looking at, and then he has the capacity to drawings the landscapes of the city with a lot of small detail like a cameras will do. So and then so the disabilities of the savers is like a reasons for or like an impediment for some people with disability to become an artist because we have a lot of examples of artists with disability.
Okay. Now, let's see. In terms of now, being the fact that you came over to the United States and you became a citizen and everything like that, what barriers as an artist do you face? Do you face any barriers with your art or anything like that? Because
Yes.
because people with disabilities deal with barriers all the time. So I mean, I think
Yes.
I think other groups also, not just people with disabilities. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I believe that everybody has their own challenge in virus. And so my personal case, so I have a lot of challenge, especially when I arrived into the United States. And one of them was information, communications. So learns English. So all that type of barriers. So I found them at the beginning, and then by many years. Now today I have another types of voters and challenge, which is totally different to the voters at the beginnings. Okay, but I don't see that as like a limitation for me because what I see that part is like a challenge. And I consider since I consider the challenge is not only for me, so I don't consider any new challenge that I can face is like something which is the end of the world.
No, it's
Okay.
not the end
Okay.
of the
No.
world. Yeah.
Exactly. As a professional artist, so and not only me, but many artists, they face a challenge in various in the art market to have an access to the art market because the art market I consider is very controlled for small groups of people whose often manipulate the market, and that's put some limitation to an artist who are not under the wing or one of those powerful people to put your art on the market and to value your art, my art, on with the fairness then any artworks need to be valued.
Why is it now? How many years does it take to practice as an artist before you go out and do exhibitions? Because I understand you have an exhibition coming up, and we can talk about that. Go ahead.
Yes. So first, it is a good question. That's the you asking me, because at this point, so when you became an artist, art is for your whole life. Okay. Why is that? After you take the training, after you discover that you have the talent to become an artist, so you need to go into the school to get the appropriate training to help yourself to develop your talents to the maximum potential. Okay? So, but after that, when you are on the art practice as a professional artist, so every day, every time when you're going to create artworks, every time when you're going to research for the topic that you want to end, it is a challenge. It will be a new learning because you had to, as an artist, you always had to challenge faces with the creativity because the artist had to create something new work of art, new idea, new symbol, the new expression. You have to be creative. You need to dealing with the creativity, and that's why. So I cannot consider then at what point I'm not sure at what point you can consider that you are just really an artist, because an artist is not like a traditional job. Okay, so then you retire at the age of, let's say, 65 or 67 years old. So art, it is a career for your whole life. So an artist, they never retire, and every day we are learning, and that learning process is going to take our whole lives when we are doing our practice. So it is a career that you never retire and never end, because every day we learning, and through our own creativity process, depending what is the challenge that the societies and the human being on their human condition, they have to face this every day.
Why is it important to showcase your art in museums and other places?
Well, that part is very important too, because even if the artist has a lot of talent and are doing or are creating a lot of beautiful artwork, it is important then the artist can expose their works to the audience. Okay? And also because it's the way how you allow the opportunity to value your works, but it's also at the same time, it is an opportunity to enrich and build in your backgrounds, because the backgrounds on the artist, or as any professional, all professionals, what you do, what your background, how big is your background, and how many things that you do, how many years you have doing the work that you do, that's also matter. Okay, for example, let's say if you're going to buy artworks, okay, you can buy artworks for any level, okay. And then the endings, how experimental is the artist, probably because of the artworks in terms of money, because art doesn't have price. So when you see people just paying for their artworks, sometimes often millions of dollars, not necessarily that represent the values of the art, because the creative art doesn't have a economic value, but the market established a price. What is the price of a work of art? Depending what the people want to pay for. Okay, so and then experience. The background is represent your experience. For example, if you're going to have a surgery. So would you like to just a doctor who recently graduated from college?
No, of course not.
Exactly. So you would like to know what the background of that doctor is, how many years he has doing that type of surgery that the patient maybe need. So an artist is also running like that too. Okay.
And
So
I can bring this up. When we were looking for surgeons for my wife's situation,
yes.
so we can make sure she has a great surgery, we had to, I had to research that, and I had to speak to people. You just don't go out and get a surgeon. Yeah, I see your point there.
Exactly. So, and that's also happening in an art. So when some investor or art buyers going to buy an art, they're going to try to find out what the story, what is the background of the artist. Okay. So as in art, as much year you have in working in art in practice, is very important too. It doesn't going to define how good is the artwork of the artist, but it's going to help to the audience, to the public, to understand where that artist maybe stands in the art. Okay.
Now I've had other artists on, and they talk about art as therapy for people. Okay, even though art is a career for you, is it considered a type of therapy for you at the same time?
I would say sometimes maybe, because let's say when I have some frustration when some different issues, okay, then we may have experimenting in the societies when the thing doesn't go as we want. You know, art is the vehicle to which allow me to express myself and to bring down my frustration. Okay, so at some points, in my case, also as an artist, art is therapeutical too.
Okay.
Which, by the way, psychologists and psychiatrists, they use in hospital the art as a therapist too. Yeah, because that's the power of the art, the spiritual parts of the arts, the spiritual of the arts is what's also helped to people through healings through art.
Okay, so you're a teacher, you're a professor. You've taught at Bergen Community College and other places. How hard is it? Hard or easy to teach students what you've learned?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question because the thing is, teaching is an art. No, everybody can teach, can help others to grow in. Okay, intellectual and in terms of the to develop skill. Okay, so unfortunately, then I have also the talent to teach. What does it mean? That I can teach what I know. Okay, I can help students to learn from my experience in life. Okay, I have more than 30 years in art. Okay, so it means that I have experience, then I cannot learn it in the school because that's the experience that I have is a combination of talent, skill, combined with academic education plus experience in the real world. Okay, so and then for me to teach is hard, is not difficult because the way how I see my roles in the academy is not only like a source to get money, okay? But I see my goals in education is to help to build the future generation of artists. And not only is an artist, future artist, but it's also other students who will become like a doctor, engineer, architect, and designer, photographers, because in ours, many art class are elective too. So what does that mean? So not necessarily the student need to be on the major of art, okay? So many of my students, they not necessarily want to go into the art careers, okay? But it is an opportunity for them to understand what are the roles of the arts in the societies and why it is important, not only for future artists, okay? Because everybody consumes art. Every profession, they need artists. Not only artists on the traditional way how people usually know artists. Because in this modern world today, so we have many art manifestations. That's many art manifestations that were not considered as an art in the past. For example, when we have commercial art today, okay, we have graphic designers, we have multimedia artists, okay, we have fashion designers, we have industrial product designers. Today, they are considered as an artist today. We have architects, okay? So, and then what does that mean? So, for example, every time when we're going to, everywhere we're going, so we are exposing to art. What type of art? Not necessarily the traditional art. But for example, if you see a graphic artist, okay? Graphic artists who design, let's say, book covers, poster, to advertisement, different types of product, or when you going to the store to go for the furniture. So you have designer who design furniture for the house. You have designer who designs computers, who design cars. You have architects who design a big bridge, beautiful buildings. All those types of art manifestations. So we considering art today. So what does that mean is then we are exposing to art everywhere. And today, so everywhere we're going, we have advertisement. For example, so if you are, if someone, if you want to begin going to college to be a doctor, you will need, even if you don't figure out that, but every time you will see graphic designs in every material that you're going to read. Okay? So, and that's why art is important in every aspect of our life. Even if we consider that we never see art or not. As soon as you are, let's say, it's on the subway, let's say in New York or everywhere, airports, you will see advertisements and graphic design everywhere. They are artists too. And photography too. Photographers are an artist today. Okay, so that is the broad definition that we have for art today. Not only the traditional definition of art that we have it before. What the traditional definition of art in the past? It was just paintings, drawings, sculptures, and that's ceramic. Okay.
Yep.
So, but today, so we are more exposed into art.
Okay. Last couple of questions before we end. This is like your opinion here. It's opinion.
Okay. What's your opinion?
Opinion. You know, in the past, they were talking about past administrations, talking about Washington, D.C. You know, humanities and art is very important. What is the future of art programs, and is there a problem when they cut an art program, either from a college or high school?
Well, so cutting funding, fund for institutions like as academies, art institutions, as well others and other types of institutions.
Galleries, museums.
Always, yes, always it will be a challenge, a problems for the arts, and as well also for those institutions which had to work with art programs. Okay, so unfortunately, so when the nation has a budget problems, issues budget problem. For example, the United States is a country with a lot of debt. Okay, and for many years, is running with a lot of deficit. Okay, and then at some points, in this case, I'm going to tell you the truth. So I had no idea how much money the education for the arts and for the academy, for the academy.
For example, they just cut funding from PBS, NPR, and in the past, they've cut national endowments for the arts. You know, things like that. Go ahead.
Yes, well, I saw when this administration submitted the big beautiful bills, as the President Trump called the bill. So after the Congress and the Senate approved the budget, I saw the administration sending the budget back, asking them to take it off $9 trillion from the budget. Because the present administration, they consider there should be some situation with some of those non-for-profit broadcasting organizations. Okay, it is more a political issues because some of those non-profit broadcasters or organizations, they have been accusing to use those media as a political bias. Okay, so they have been accusing to lose the mission, the original mission of those media. I don't say that's the truth, but as the issues became like emerging as a political debate, I had to tell you exactly what is the point of view from the two sides of the islands. Okay, I don't mean that this is right or not, but the thing is, so cutting funds for the arts and education never is good, and because the thing is, when money problem arises there, so the first thing the governments do, not only in the United States, in every nation. So when they want to cut it, they begin for the arts. That's the more they tend more to begin by that part. But in this case, so the cutting is not only on the arts and the academy too, because I see in terms academically, in terms of the academy of the academy institution, they have a different vision. This president has a different vision than the traditional president never approached. For example, they consider then the state should be in charge of education, not the federal government. That's why they want to eliminate the education department. So for many people, they believe that is a good option. For others, no. Okay, because some state, they say some of the argument is some state they have a lot of money, they can run in their own budget of education, and some other maybe may have some limitation. So for others, they believe that the federal government should not dictate to the state what the education program should be. Okay, so now they say, okay, the federal government, they should regulate what should happen in education in each state. You know, it is more like a political debate. What is happening now? But the cut is not the budget is not affecting only the educations, as well also the arts. It's also affecting the Medicaid, the SNAPs, the food stamp program too.
The what? The food stamp food stamp program.
SNAPs, right?
SNAP.
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 Yes. SNAPs. Okay.
Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Yeah.
Exactly. So all of this new budget is affecting all aspects, not only of the arts of education, but it's all aspects of the service that the society needed. Okay. But there are some positive aspects that I also consider, and they may be a good and maybe will be an incentive for people to try to do what they are supposed to do. Okay. So for example, so I see that some people who some different way receive some benefit, but they are healthy and they can do they can work, but at the same point they appear like it doesn't work. So on this new budget, they are asking to those types of people, let's do 20 hours a week, at least. I want you
Some
to do
people
something.
don't
If you have the
even-
capacity,
Some people. No, but wait a minute.
Yes.
That's another conversation for another time.
Yes.
There's
Yes,
so,
it is.
so many people should be working that are not. That's another show.
Yeah. But the thing is, just I mentioned that part because we are talking about how the new budget affect the art programs as well also the academy. So that's the reason. But you're right. So that's another different
And
topic.
last question.
Yes.
What being the fact that you're a very accomplished artist, professor, teacher, career technical education instructor, what is the future of your career, and what other advice can you give people?
So at this point, I don't thinking really about the future of my career. Just I'm focused more just about to continue working, to continue paintings on the subjects that I believe really affect the human condition. So because people like me or professional artists, so or people who became in the arts, so we don't necessarily looking about the future or looking about for money. We're looking for big creatives, bring our problem, our society, documentary records our experience to share with future generation. Because at some point, that's what we are supposed to do, to leave some documentary about our experience, documenting our experience for future generation. That's really what
Before I let you go, let's talk about your exhibition. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. So the exhibition that I have, the next one, is not a solo show. A solo show is mean, then there are going to be another like a 7 artists. So, and then it will be in New York City on September 12th. La Dirección de Cultura en el Exterior of Dominican Republic. And that show is consists with some artists participating on this show. It will be some artists who born overseas in the Dominican Republic and some other who born in the United States but as a Dominican parent. So what we want to do is the intention of this show is to expose our experience in the United States as an immigrant artist, as well as other artists who born in the United States. Okay, so and how they succeed in this society, because each one of those artists participating, so they are well established in these societies at the professional level. Some of them are creative directors of some very important television station, or they are creative directors in Amazon, other like me. So we are professors and teacher at high school too, because I teach at the 2 level. So college in high school too. Okay. So in the intention of that show also is to let it know to the community that we are working at the professional level. We don't have the opportunity to expose our works in the community frequently due to our professional responsibility. But at the same time, so we want to encourage the young generation of futures artists to encourage them to study, even if they have talent, to have the opportunity to go into the training, to the college, to have the opportunity to develop their artistic and talents, the skill at the professional level in order to be competitive in the world of the art of today.
Well, I would like to thank you for joining me on this edition of Abel Den On Air. For more where can people tune in? Where can people tune in? Or your YouTube channel, your Instagram?
Okay, yes. So if people want to find me, for example, and YouTube channel has my YouTube channels. E. Jimenez Art in YouTube, they can find the memes. And also on Instagram, they can find me Ezequiel Jimenez Art. Ezequiel Jimenez Art in Instagram. And in Facebook, also I have Ezequiel Jimenez Art. Oh, E. Jimenez Art. E. Jimenez Art in Facebook too.
Okay. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Abel Den On Air. For more information on where people can go to find what they've seen today on Orca Media, they can go to www.orcamedia.net. I'm Lawrence Seiler. Thank you to our guest. I'm Lawrence Seiler. See you next time.
Thank you.